Well, the woman says you can go scout. You go scout. Last time I was in here, I grabbed one of my regular cameras that I let soak all season long. Never went near it, never checked it. And when I got home, my target buck for this coming season that I got on a camera not too far away from here, but I was not expecting him to be back here. He was back here mid-October, middle of the day, multiple times. Shoot back to the area that I have him in because I'm almost positive of where he's bedding in that area, and then just start game planning on access, tree, wind, time frame, cover, everything that goes into finding the right tree. Gonna do my best to not give away where I'm at. It's because most of the cameras that I pulled from back here, I had the same like group of hunters. There was one guy that was out here with his kid a couple times. I couldn't tell if they were duck hunting or if they were deer hunting. And then there was two other guys. One of them was pretty consistent into the spot that he was going to, so I'm sure he was accessing the same way each time. And then there was another guy that ended up messing with one of my cameras. I don't know if he checked my card, deleted some pictures, and then threw it back on there or in my camera, but he ended up turning my camera off, and I got a picture of him walking right up to the camera. So don't touch things that aren't yours. It's pretty simple. Probably not something I should be concerned about. Didn't look like he took care of himself very well, if you know what I mean. So I can't see him out hunting me or being able to get to the same spots I get to. So that's where I just walked up on. Now that I'm standing here, I know that this is where I ran a camera last season, but I ran a camera on that side. And this is the trail that I'm following. Here's an old historic here. It's a pretty good one. The meat of that is right over my kneecap. Other side, that's been hit, historic. That one's been hit, historic. Rubbed up a little bit here, rubbed up on that one a little bit. That's an old historic, again a little bit over the kneecap. That's a really good old historic. And this trail is just following the edge of this water. The water's actually peeling off this way. It kind of looks like there's a slough that drains into here. We'll see where this trail keeps going. I might hop across the water that way or just keep following this way. Oh, there's fresh ones up here actually from last season. Let's check it out. There we go. That was hit last season. So that. Another historic right here. That's been hit as a historic. That's been hit. That one's been hit. There's another old historic up here. That bigger one is. That's been hit as a historic. This one's been hit on both sides. Look at that. So is that. So after milling around in here, I said I was going to stop and check all the little thickets. You can see where all these like smaller saplings are condensed right here. And that's where I was just walking through, where it was just historic after historic after historic, and then some fresher ones from this last season. I ran a camera in here last season on that tree, probably like 20 yards away. It faced that way into that opening, and then I sat in that main tree. Let's see what I can see here. That tree right here, I got a ton of activity filmed on that. This is actually where I filmed those bucks laying down bedded for majority of the morning. They were bedded in this thicket that I just walked through with all of that sign. This is why I pay attention to all of that really historic sign. Some bucks just aren't going to rub in their beds. But over time and over the years of certain bucks using bedding areas, you know, deer are going to use the same bedding areas as other deer. There might be some bucks that like to rub in their bed, and there might be bucks that just don't. But those deer were literally laying right in front of me, right here. And I filmed them out of that tree right there. So that's that thicket that I was just in where those bucks were bedded last season. The coyote that I shot was actually up this way, and then it's the river. And then I grabbed one of my cameras. The camera that I was talking about that got messed with was actually on here. I'm not too worried about this spot anymore. I never seen any really mature bucks in that spot. I never really had any mature bucks on camera. And it makes sense with the pressure that I was seeing back here. There was a guy that was consistently back here, and then there was one guy that obviously, like I said, was back here messing with cameras. I'm just gonna scratch this off. Sign looked good. I don't think I'm ever gonna catch anything that I'm after in here with the pressure and with the ease of access. I haven't even put my waders on yet. As soon as the season starts, water's gonna be even lower. Probably access this with, you know, muck boots on. So rather than follow the way that I already know, and I know that there's a beat down trail that follows the river edge. I was just standing in there. I crossed a little water right there, and there's this faint trail that's gonna lead me to this bedding area. And I'm hoping that this is what he was using rather than out there where the pressure was. So I walked through that, followed that trail, found a couple of rubs over here. I'm gonna make my way back and show you that. It's just some faint rubs, nothing from last season, but it shows you where bucks are comfortable walking through. But I did stand over there. I looked over here, seen this deadfall, figured I'd find some beds in it. There's a bed there. There's a bed there. There's a bed there. There's a bed on that side. I actually shot my coyote right there, standing underneath that little overhang right there. And he was headed this way. And right before I shot him, a buck ended up kicking up and running out. And then he came out. I actually came, rather than walking that way, I walked this way, across the water, got into a little pocket where there was some old historic rubs, which is like kind of right in front of me right here. That deadfall where we looked at all the beds is right there. And that bedding area is less than 100 yards that way. I will walk the river edge out, but I guarantee you I'm not going to find any of the sign from him. I have a feeling I'm going to find it here. With all of this historic rubs that lead to the little oak flat over there, right here, I think he's coming out of that bedding. He's following this water here. He's either going to continue down where there's like a little land bridge right here that he can keep on accessing towards the egg, or if he wants, he can curve right here, go towards that oak flat where he avoided my camera. He's not going to make it there until after dark. That's over 100 yards, more than 100 yards from that bedding. So if he's hitting these oaks right before last light, or if he's hitting these oaks after he gets out of his bed, I don't believe he's going to make it to the oaks before last light. I think I'm going to have to hunt him right in this general area where he's either going to stay right or he's going to hook left. I'm going to go check out the bedding, make sure it doesn't look like he's crossing the water somewhere else. Come back here, find a tree, and then I'm going to go through that land bridge. I haven't been over there yet, so I'm going to scout all that. So I'm right in the area where I was getting those pictures of him. I missed this the last time I was in here. I just looked down and I seen all these little deer tracks everywhere in this little circle. Looked up and I said, yeah, there's probably a licking branch in here. Here it is. He was definitely hitting this at some point. When he was getting up at 11 o'clock, something midday, he was coming to hit this. This is where I'm going to kill him at. I'm walking through his bedding area now. This is like right on the tip of it. But here we go. This is where he was standing in that picture, and he was walking this way some of the mornings, and he was walking this way some of the mornings. So I know this is his area, but we had scouted this little peninsula 2 years ago, and we found all these old rubs that you see here. These things are so high. This is like chest high. And I got him and a few other bucks just standing here for almost like 10-15 minutes. So I'm just milling around this thing and boop, licking branch. Got working around. There's clearly a bed right here. Clearly a bed right here. Just looking around. figured I'd find another licking branch somewhere. Looked out here, nothing. Clearly some bedding in here. There's a bed right here, and then right in that bed, bam. There's the rubs. Look how high they are. This is at my neck. Come on. I just walked around the edge here. It's old historic. Don't think it was hit at all last season. Look at this. There's a bed right here for sure. Me and Dylan have walked through here a couple of times. I've been in here a handful of times, and I never found any huge rubs. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for him to lay down something that tells me he's in here. I mean, I know he's in here. Clearly from the pictures, he's in here. It's the little things. That's snapped off. There's an old historic up there. This would be the trail that he came walking into the bedding and out of the bedding on. There's an old historic here. This is snapped off right here. Bingo. Yeah, I can see that being him. Holy Moses, this was not here last year. All right. Let's go. He's just got a straight shot out here. So those rubs are coming this way. Look at that flat spot right there. He's a decent sized buck. He's gonna want to have something right at his back. I can see him laying right here. Big deadfall at his back. If he hears anything coming down the river, all he's got to do is just stand up, watch anybody floating down this river during the day. Most of the people are going to pull into this slough access. He's just got to boogie right on out of here. He knows that there's pressure that way. He can stay in the thick cover this way. You'll never see him. Got rubs right here, way up here. Are they walking on this thing? They have to be. What the hell? And on the other side of this little lump, this could be early season. I'm really just working this bedding area. Just came walking back this way. This is like the same time frame as that last rub. This is tore up. Something's in here early season as well. So that's that whole bedding area. It's like right on the peninsula. I just walked out, was milling around, hit a trail, seen this blowdown, figured I'd walk by it. There's an old historic on it. I turned around. Look at this. That's what we want to see. That's probably 30 yards, 35 yards to the scrape that's right outside of the bedding. And actual bedding, we're probably only about, well, it's probably less than 30 yards to the edge of the bedding. We need to figure out where we can shoot that scrape as well as shoot over here. So I was originally looking at this darker tree right here, but it doesn't give me a clean shot to that scrape. I would be able to shoot anything going on that trail towards that historic, but it just didn't make any sense. The next best option is going to be this tree, but that puts me super close to the bedding, and it's going to be a noisy one to get into. And I'm going to have to get high because by the time I hunt him, all of this grass is going to be real tall. Second thing, my thermals in the PM are going to pull right into this little pond right here. And I can see him walking the edge out there, smelling anything that's getting pulled into this water. So I'm going to have to find something farther back. There's no way I'm gonna be able to set up in that tree in the afternoon. I'd like to see how tall the grass gets as well before I choose my tree. But I ended up making my way to where it kind of pinched down and created a funnel. And there is absolutely zero sign in here, which was what it looked like the last time I was in there. I'm not sure why they just avoid this, but I mean, there is a faint trail in here. There's no sign that tells me that anything's getting to and from. Again, I'm just working down this. I'm not seeing any rubs. There's feeding sign, and then I hit this like little circle. And you can tell where all of these have been snapped off. Down here. They're working their way through here. Just not leaving too much sign. I just walked through here. Here's the old historic. There's another one on the other side of this one right here. And then all of those trees had all the majority of the tips all worked off. So maybe they are working through here. Those historic rubs are right there. You can see a bed right here. Just gonna mark this little peninsula, because that's essentially what it is. It comes down to a peninsula. I'll mark it as potential bedding. Just came walking back from this way. Heading back to where I crossed the ice, and look at this old historic. Hasn't been hit in a long time, but there's very, very faint sign that they're working through here. It's almost like they don't want to lay down a sign, but they do want to lay down just enough to let the other deer know. Whoa. That did not feel good. I'm super lucky it's just like frozen mud and not water. Whew, still got my phone. Wow. Oh my god. That frozen mud is starting to melt. Oh, Jesus. My shins are numb. So I'm working back towards the truck. The last time I was scouting here, I found a super good scrape right there. Didn't realize where I was at the time because I'm not too familiar on certain like landmarks and whatnot in here. That's why I'm spending a lot of time in here, so I can just work my way through here without getting lost and having to work on off of the map. But there's definitely a line that they're following from where I got my camera. Scrape. There's another licking branch that's been busted off. Oh, look at this historic. This isn't even that far away. All these scrapes. And that's worked up a bit. I'll probably take a different route out of here. There's this piece that's right next to the road that my buddy David has had some encounters on. The sign in there is ridiculous. I've never killed anything in there or seen anything in there when I'm in there. But they did a deer drive at the end of the gun season, and David said the sign was ridiculous. And they got a deer out of there. So I'm gonna see if it's one of those spots where it's just overlooked. Let's see if there's any mature sign. There's a strap. It's a trail camera right there. This looks like a scrape. Yeah, this is snapped off right here. These are all worked off, snapped off, snapped off. Alright, let's get this marked. Again, it's probably not somewhere where I plan on hunting, but if I can take inventory right here, that'd be good. This is way too close to access. Notice how none of the leaves are in this spot. There's all these acorns on the ground. This has been nipped off. That's been nipped off. You can see faint little deer tracks in here, but I mean, there's caps everywhere. It's thick. It's like an old clear cut. It's grown now. Oh, found a rub. Here we go. Oh, it's a line. Okay. 2.5-year-old. Bing. Hit that one. Rub that one. Rub that one. Let's see if I can see anything else. Those rubs were back there a little bit, a few yards into this little thicket. I'm in this lane right now that I'm walking down. But as I'm peering through here, I can see some rubs on that same line that just keep going down this way. Not seeing any scrapes or anything. Just that one rub line. This is like the front of that rub line that goes down that way. This is like the first one that leads into all those rubs, and they're all the same size, so you know it's the same deer. Now he's working back this way. A little bit older too, kind of earlier season. It's all historic. So that historic up there connects to that one that I was out in the open with. That connects to this. There's a really good rub up here. Old historic here. Old historic down there. Here's a historic rub right here. Let's get up here. This is what we were looking for. There's an old historic as well. Turn the corner. Ah, here we go. That's good. The meat of that is just below my hip. Historic, historic. All right, so I followed the trail, probably like 15-20 yards up there to that tree line. Didn't want to go through the tree line, so I kicked back in. I seen that rub. There's another rub behind it, and I'm just following it. I seen a rub there, and then I seen this. Very good. Holy Moses. Yeah, I'd say that's what we're looking for. Holy moly. Some up here too. Keep going here. This has worked. This has worked. I don't see anything behind this. So it almost looks like it just keeps working down this way. Probably like 50, 60 yards down is where that crazy rub was. This is on the same line. Same heights. Everything. I'm waiting for him to either cut across here or just keep on going straight down. And he's clearly going straight down. Jesus. Yep. Another one. Another one up there. Oh, he's turning into this opening. You don't want to do that, buddy. All right. Yep, this is him for sure. My Lord! That's where one of his antlers are nicking. This is snapped off up here. Lord Almighty. Nope, I got more up here. So he's not turning into this opening. So that's rubbed. This is what I just walked through. But it looks like he's staying inside of this, but let's walk out here. Because if he does expose himself right here, this might be where I could get it done at, depending on when he's here. These look like rut rubs. Another one in here on the same line, connected to that one. This might be him coming in. Oh yeah. See if I see anything down here. So I just came through there, following what looked like his rubs. Kind of got nervous because I wasn't seeing anything, and then bam, I'm right back on him. Way too thick to go in there. This has got to be him. This is the way that I just came from, but look, snapped off, snapped off, snapped off, as if he's like pushing through here. This is snapped off. You look through here, and those are his rubs. He's walking right through there, curving and following that rub line that I just came in on. Yeah, same thing. He's following this trail. That's snapped off right there. That's where I just was. He's following this trail. Now here's an old historic, pretty high. He's got to be walking right through here. I don't see any rubs that way. Yeah, nothing. He's got to keep going over here. Here we go. There they are. So he's going through here. Oh, I can either just keep working down this. There's a faint trail that runs this way. Might be some sign out there. This is it. Different time frame. This is it. Alright, well, this is it too. That looks like him. Alright, that's gonna pretty much do it. Head back to the truck. I'm gonna be back in this area one more time to look for that 7-pointer that I put an arrow through, as well as just continue to scout the south end of that. And the next time I'm in here, I'm gonna follow these rubs in and see if there's any spot along that rub line that gives me an opening. Oh man, there's more rubs up here. That snapped off. Kind of the same height. This one right next to it. That's gonna be rubbed up here. Looks like we're not done. Both of these are hit. That thing is pretty tore up.